Yes, we are live. Thank you so much for joining me. Good evening, everyone. Today, we are going to be talking about questions every parent must be able to respond to about sex. And today is going to be the last day that we're going to be talking about sex. We've been talking about sex for the past 4 weeks now, yes, since the beginning of June. And I can say that we have covered so much. Right, yes. So questions every parent must be able to respond to about sex. My name is Marufa Otolori and I am the founder of Lola Loves Parenting, a parenting outfit that is designed to help parents, to equip them with the necessary knowledge, the skills and the tools to raise wholesome children. Yes, because we believe that parenting is learned. Yes, parenting is a learned thing. A lot of the time people come with that assumption that our parent didn't have to study parenting. How is it? But I can tell you for a fact that if we put, 50 people, 50 adults down now, I can say for a fact that 20% of them does not have a good relationship with their parents. Yes, and that's one thing we want to scrap. The moment you do not have that relationship with your parents, or the moment parents don't have that relationship with their children, it is difficult to influence them. And that's why we have lots of problems, moral decadence and the likes going on, in our lives right now, right? In the world, in the society right now, right? So, and this is why we need to learn parenting. We need to learn how to do it better than those who raised us did it. Right, so back to today's topic. Questions every parent must be able to respond to about sex. Kindly let me know if you can hear me. Just drop an emoji, say something and let me know that I'm not alone. You can hear me, you can see me, and you can hear me clearly, right? Please kindly do that. I'll be waiting to see if I'm going to get any response before I go on today's session. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Kindly let me know. Right, if you do not know, please kindly go to the discussion room. There you'll be able to send messages to the group. Just click on the last message that was sent on the channel and you'll be able to send messages and you'll be able to, drop a message on the discussion room. Right, yes, I can see that Sister Shakira just joined there now. And I hope that you all can hear me. I want to confirm that before we go on today's session. You can hear me. Thank you so much. So I will go right into today's session. Questions every parent must be able to respond to about sex. Right. We said it earlier that the conversation around sex is usually an uncomfortable one. Everyone, experiences that, including me, right? That is to let you know that no one is perfect, right? Everyone who wants to have that conversation actually finds it uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable conversation. And usually, most of the time, it meets parents unprepared. So that's why you see lots of parents, when their children are so curious and they ask them a particular question, they find it very difficult to answer. They either dismiss, they find something to say, or they say something that covers it up and all of that, right? So today's session is to help prepare parents for some of these questions such that it doesn't make us unprepared. Of course, just like people would say that the journey of 9 months of carrying a child, that one is no longer, a journey of a stranger anymore. Yeah, it's not, it's not something that should make us unprepared, right? We should know that our children are going to be curious because it's something we already know. It's a known fact that our children are smarter. They are more, they're more intelligent, right, than us as parents. Yes, because the time that they are being given birth to, we cannot compare it to our own time. So we want to have this conversation so that we'll be able to, we'll prepare ourselves and we do not end up avoiding the question. We do not end up neglecting the question. We do not end up giving wrong answers to those questions. But that we answer the question with confidence, with the idea or with the thought that I want my children to be able to come back to me with similar questions, right? So this is the main reason why we're having this session. We want to be in a place whereby we'll be prepared to answer this question, even if we might not have that answer, which in most cases we have the answers. Yes, we do have the answers, but we feel reluctant to say the answers because we feel that we're going to be exposing our children to too much. And the truth about it is that exposing our children to too much, like exposing them to the real things by us, is better than them stumbling on the wrong thing outside. Right? So the discomfort that comes with having sex conversation isn't uncommon. So if you're always in that place whereby you feel uncomfortable having this conversation, yes, it will happen. But what we want to do is that we want to be in a place whereby we constantly practice it until we get used to it. We need to be in a place, because sex conversation is not a one-time thing. It's something you just have with your child once in a year and you feel that at all. No. If you're in a place whereby you are doing that, or you don't even talk about it at all, you are missing, you are doing your children a disservice. That's the word. So we want to always find ourselves in a place whereby we're prepared, if not, with the answer, we are able to comport ourselves enough so that our children will still be able to come back to us with similar questions, right? So I was sharing that I started having this in-depth conversation with my son when he turned 7. If we all know that, saying that we should play with our children for 7 years, we should teach them and guide them for the next 7 years, and then the last 7 years we should guide them, like we should mentor them, right? So I felt that, okay, yes, my child is now 7, and the truth about it is we feel that puberty sets in when children are actually like 12 years, 13 years. No, it's not true. Puberty actually setting for our children the moment they turn 8. We'll see lots of, especially female children, the way they grow, the way they start doing things. Puberty actually starts setting in. You start seeing very early signs of puberty when children are 8. So you want to prepare them for this, right? So I started having this in-depth conversation with my child who is 7, my first child who turned 7, in September, right? So I started thinking that, okay, yes, this child is already growing. This child already understands to an extent right from wrong. The curiosity of this child is growing more. And what that does is that if you start early, if you start conversation early, I like to say that, when we talk about sex conversation generally, it starts from the day that you start to have your children, right? But when we talk about deep conversations, then it should start when your child actually becomes, 7. Right? Depending on whatever it is that they ask you. It's possible a 5-year-old can come and ask you that, yes, where do baby come from? If a 5-year-old is asking you where do baby come from, it's tantamount to a teenager asking you, what is sex? Yes. Because if a 5-year-old can think to that extent that, okay, where do baby comes from, then something is happening. Maybe they've heard something, maybe they've seen something. Right? So if your children are not actually asking you this question, there's every possibility that they're asking somebody else, because these children are very curious. And the moment you are able to start early, what that does for you is that it opens that door for further conversation like that one. It opened doors for for further conversation. So I said that when my child started asking me during Ramadan, Mommy, you're not praying, you're not fasting, I needed to come out straight. I knew that I needed to take our sex conversation a bit higher. I knew that I needed to now talk to my child about reproduction, right? So those are the things that is going to come. If you start early, you'll be in a place where you are prepared to face the conversation, and you are also able to put yourself in that place whereby your children come to you for similar questions. So one thing is that if we do not prepare for these questions and conversations, if we do not find ourselves in a place whereby we prepare for it, that, okay, yes, my child can ask this, and even if my child is not asking this, then I should teach it intentionally, we'll end up being cunning. That's it. If we do not prepare to answer this question, if we're not prepared to face this question, you end up answering them in a cunning way, and at the end of the day, you lie. Yes, that's what happens. You lie about certain things. You don't come out straight. You don't tell them the truth. And that's another disadvantage already. Because if you constantly find yourself in a place whereby you can't face difficult conversation, because yes, it's a difficult conversation, especially because of the fact that we were not used to having such conversation with our own parents. So it's a difficult conversation. So if you do not prepare for it, you stylishly, you want to find your way around the fact that you don't want to answer, then you say something. Or even if you've heard that, the children can be very curious. If you don't answer, they might seek answer elsewhere. You will lie. You will lie. You say the things that are not truth. Right? So, and what this does is that it pushes children away. That line, that trust is going to diminish. It's because they would have definitely heard something. And that's why we want to talk about these questions, and we want to talk about, how to answer these questions. Right? So you need to have an open and honest atmosphere when having this conversation. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. You need to have an open and honest atmosphere. Even before sex conversation, before you want to start talking to your children about puberty, about sex and all of that, you need to always open the line of communication between yourself and your children. Not just opening the line of communication, making sure that you are having honest conversation. You are having a place whereby there's an open and honest atmosphere with your children instead of avoiding them. Right? So that is the first thing you need to do. There must be an open and honest, atmosphere for that conversation to take place. Right? So one thing that we need to know is that we must answer such questions knowledgeably, honestly, and structurally. When we say structurally, with skills, you must put a structure to it. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. You must answer sex questions that comes from your children, from your children. You must answer them knowledgeably. You must answer them honestly. You must answer them with skills, structurally, which means before you can have this conversation, of course, you need to have, the knowledge of it. You need to have a knowledge of it. You need to be honest about it, irrespective of what your children ask you. Even if we're going to get there, by the time we start talking about the questions that maybe younger children or older teenagers ask, then you see why I'm saying that you need to answer it with knowledge and you need to answer it honestly. You see that being honest is a factor that is very important. Are people with me? Are you getting value from this session? I feel alone. Is anyone here with me? Yes, thank you so much. You must answer sex questions for your children knowledgeably, honestly, and structurally. Thank you so much. Please, if you are getting value from this session, kindly help us to share and let other parents also come and benefit from this. Like I always say, that sex conversation is not something we can just have with our children and we feel that we are safe. They have friends who have parents. They have peers, they have people who they talk to, they have people who they get advice from, right? So please kindly share with their parents and let them also come and benefit from this session. Thank you so much as you do so. Right, let's go on. So you must be able to answer it honestly. Please hold on to that because we're still coming back to it as we go on talking about this question. So what are the things that you must do first of all before answering these questions, right? So it's not just about answering the questions. It's about the things that you need to put in place before you can answer this question, right? And the first thing that we're going to be talking about is that you must first of all make your child feel comfortable. You see, the moment your child asks a question relating to sex, and you start doing something like, oh yeah, where did you hear that from? So how come? Yeah, you're passing a message to your child, because communication, when it comes to communication, the words that you use is only 7%. Your body language, your tone of voice, it's what take the larger percentage, right? So you must first of all make your child feel comfortable. Let them know that they're in a safe place. Do you know why? For your child to even come to you and ask you that question, oh my God, you've won a visa lottery. For your child to come to you and ask you a question like that, right? It is having an iota of trust that, okay, yes, I think my mom is in the best position to answer this question. So if you don't make them comfortable, if you don't make them feel like, okay, this child has put me in a place that, okay, yes, I'll be the best person to answer this question, and this child is bringing this question to me, then you now act funnily. In a way that, hey, where did you hear that from? And you start shouting. You're sending a message to your child that you are not a safe person to have that conversation. Oh my God, are you getting? You are sending a message to your child that you are not the best person, or I am not the best person to actually answer this question. So you need to make your child feel comfortable, right? For example, now your child asks you, Mommy, when will you be having sex? Like I posted today, when will you be having sex? Maybe because they just feel like, this particular brother is just disturbing me. When will you be having sex so that you have another child, so that you give us another baby? Do you think it's not possible? This is something that I've heard from a parent. This is real life. I even wrote 10. That child was only 8 years old. And the child asked, the parents were together, like, Mom, when are you going to be having sex? Because you need to give me a baby brother now, or a baby sister, because this person is stubborn. This is something that children can say. And it depends. If you have been in that position whereby you have spoken to your child about it, which means that child already knows from you that, okay, when you want to have a child, you have sex, right? And that's why that child is asking that question. If you were the one who taught that child that, okay, this is so thing, you have a child, you have sex, majorly, maybe when reproduction wants to occur, you want to have another baby, or maybe for pleasure, your mind will be at peace that, okay, yes, this is coming from the conversation that I have had with this child. But if you've never had that conversation with that child, you know the way your mind will do boom, boom, boom. Like, who told this child that when somebody wants to have a baby, you start thinking, you start calculating, you start doing all sorts of things. However, you need to make them feel comfortable. Because even if a child has heard outside that when you want to have a baby, you have sex and all of that, and that child is still bringing that question to you, it means that there is an iota of trust. It means that child can still trust you. It means that you are still a safe haven for that child. And that's why that child is bringing that question to you. So you want to help them to feel comfortable. Don't be angry. Being angry is it's the worst thing that you can ever do. And that's why, when we were talking, I think sometimes in March or May, I've forgotten exactly. I think sometimes in February or March, when we're talking about emotional intelligence, I said that emotional intelligence is at the heart of parenting. If you don't have it, you can't intentionally parent. Because you always lash out, you always be angry, you always do certain things that you are not supposed to do. That's it. So you don't have to be angry. Don't be angry. Don't assume. Never assume. Because we want to assume this child has watched something, this child has heard something. Just treat their question as, a part of curiosity in your child. Don't assume. Don't go haywire. Don't start shouting. Don't start shaking. Because your child can read all of your body language. Your child can read everything. So you don't want to go haywire. You don't want to start shouting. You don't want to, hey, where did you hear that from? African parents, we all know how we do all of these things. But that is not the best approach. Because you need to know that it takes Allah's rahmah. It takes the mercy of Allah for that child to come to you. Amidst every other person around them, amidst everything that they've read, stories like this are already published in books. This is something that we already know. This is something that we see every day. But the painful part of it is that parents, we just turn blind eyes to things like this. We just say things like, may Allah have mercy on us, and we go on without even trying to do something about it. So it takes the mercy of Allah for your child to come to you and ask you that type of question. So don't ever miss this opportunity by becoming angry, by acting irrationally, by going haywire, and all of those things. So firstly, you want to help them feel comfortable. So you want to say something like, okay, oh, really? I'm glad that you're asking that question. What can you tell me about it? What have you heard about it? Right? Because sex conversation is more of listening than more of talking. Right? When we get there, we'll talk more about it. Right? So you need to help them to feel comfortable, because how comfortable they become when they ask you difficult questions, very difficult question, is directly proportional to how they will listen to you in sex conversation. Right? It is directly proportional to how they will listen to you in sex conversation. So, firstly, how do you even face very big conversations like that first. Right? So the way we either respond or react to this conversation will determine if the door of that conversation will be left open or it's going to be shut down. Right? We did something in NLP, that I just finished some weeks back. And, it was being said that just the way you do your face, when somebody is talking to you, just the way you do your face, the way the way you jack, the way you do certain things, that is what is going to determine how it has to do with coaching and therapy anyway. That is what is going to determine how your client, how your customer, or how whoever is talking to you is going to continue. So whatever it is you react, you might not even say anything. You can just look at them like this and put down your face back. That might just be the only thing that your child will see in you. And that is what is going to determine if that line of conversation is going to be left open or is going to be closed. So you don't want you don't want it to go, you don't want to close that conversation. You don't want topics like that not to be brought to you. So you want to make your child feel comfortable. Right? So how then do you help them to feel comfortable? Right? How do you help them to become comfortable? Number one thing that you want to do is that you want to tell them something like, okay, well, that's interesting. That's so interesting that you're asking that question and you're asking me, right? I would like to tell you more about it. Okay, so now you want to come closer to me and sit down and let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. That's making them feel comfortable, right? So it's not a conversation you just answer them or you're just talking while leaving them standing. Making them comfortable is saying, okay, yeah, come over, sit down and let's talk about it. No matter what you're doing. Because like I said, it is either what you do closes that door or it leaves that door open. So you want to start with a phrase like that. Wow, okay, I can see that you really want to know about this thing and I'm so eager to also teach you about it. Right, so come sit down, let's have a conversation. That's making your children comfortable. Right? So you want to say something like, okay, it looks like you've heard about this before. If you have not spoken to them about it before, right? So you need to take note of this. If you've not spoken to them about it before, you want to tell them, so okay, it looks like you've heard something about it. Can you tell me? Even if you've told them something about it before and you want to know if they can still remember, if they can still recollect, you still want to tell them that it looks like you've heard something about this before. Can you tell me what you've heard about it before? You want to know if they still have the knowledge you have given to them or if they've heard something else that is, distorting whatever it is that they've heard, right? So you want to make them feel comfortable, right? Another thing you want to do to make them feel comfortable is that even if you're on your phone, you're on a device, you're on anything, put down your phone and listen. Listen to your child, because do you know why we're saying that you should put down your phone or you should, try as much as possible to listen? Because it is not just about the words that will come out of your children's mouth. It is about their body language. It is about their tone of voice. If you're on your phone doing something else and you feel that you're just hearing with you are not going to get the information. So you want to pay attention. And that's why, okay, you can imagine when a child is telling you something like that, and that child cannot maintain that look, cannot look straight into your eyes. Or that child is doing something like, you'll be able to get the information. You'll be able to know what exactly is going on. But you won't be able to do this if you do not listen. So listen with the whole of your body, with the whole of your, with rapt attention. Let me put it that way. Show them that you are listening. This is going to show your child that you are interested in that thing. And their well-being is at your heart. So you want to listen. A lot of the time, this is something that so many parents complain about. My child does not listen. My children do not listen. The question is, do you listen as a parent? Do you also listen? That's the question. Do you listen? There are lots of the time that I'll sit down and I'll look at it like, what exactly is going wrong? Because the complaints that we get, I don't have similar complaints. I don't have similar complaints like with my children, because they do listen. Yes, you might need to teach them again, to say it again, but they listen. You might need to say it again because maybe they forgot. Maybe they got carried away. But children actually listen if we listen. So you want to listen with rapt attention, right? Number 3, you have to be neutral and be patient enough to know what your child is talking about. Your child might not just be asking about, your child has asked, okay, yes, when can I have sex? Maybe your teen, when can I have sex? Your child might not just be asking because your child wants to have sex. No, it might not be that. It might just be that maybe your child is being pressured into something. If you do not pay attention, you will not listen. You will not be able to hear that part of whatever it is that your child is saying. So you want to be neutral and patient enough to know that your child is talking up, to know what your child is talking about. And that's why emotional intelligence is so important. It is key. I was really talking about it, that no matter what, if you really want to raise children intentionally, I'm not talking about gentle parenting here. If you want to raise children intentionally, you need to have emotional intelligence as a parent. If you don't have it, you will find it very difficult. As a matter of fact, you might not get results. Because everything, look around, just think about it. Think about the things your children do, the way they want to kill themselves sometimes among their siblings and all of that. If you do not have emotional intelligence, you won't be able to tackle lots and lots of problems and challenges that are going on within the family. So you need to have emotional intelligence. So you need to be neutral. Don't come with assumptions. Don't face the conversations already have a mind that is made up, or that already has so many assumptions of, my child is doing this, my child is doing that. Okay, my child is asking this question because something happened. Face it with a neutral mind, with a patient mind, with a patient body, with a patient mind. Right? You need to know, like I said, that a change in your look can make your child, your child might want to tell you the truth, but because you have raised your eyebrow like this, and you have changed your eyes, you have done something, your child will just change everything, will just switch everything. And your child, what happens? Your child is just going to tell you exactly what you want to hear, and not what is actually happening, just because they want to save themselves. They'll just change everything. Right? So you want to help them to feel comfortable. The next thing that you need to do is that, just like I said from the beginning, you need to be open and be honest. Don't lie. No matter what, you see, we'll get to, while we have this conversation, we'll get to some parts whereby you understand why I'm saying that you should be honest. You should be honest. Right? So you need to be open and honest. If you are not open and honest, there are other platforms where they can learn from. They can learn from their peers. They can learn from the media, they can learn from books, they can learn from, those big aunties, those big uncles, those street aunties, people that are ready to listen to them. They can learn from them. So if you are not honest, you're in trouble. It's a problem. So you need to have honesty yourself as a skill, as a parent. You need to be honest. Because if you are not honest, your children will ask other places. They will get information from other places. And you will start losing your credibility as a parent. You start to lose trust and credibility. That's part of making them feel comfortable with you. Because if you tell them a different thing, if you exaggerate something for them, a lot of when we were growing up, our parents usually tell us back then that, now that you have started menstruating, if you move close to a man, like if a man sleeps with you, you will get pregnant. It's not true. Because it is a lot of the time, first time does not equal pregnancy. Am I lying or am I lying? First time does not always equal pregnancy. So you want to really tell them the things that are real. You want to give them facts. And that's why we said you have to face this with knowledge. 5, answer with facts and knowledge. I already started speaking about that. What are the facts surrounding your child's question? If your child has asked you, for example, what is sex? What is sex? You don't want to say something different. And that's why it is important for you to start from, okay, what exactly have you heard about it? Because it is more about listening, like I said. For example, now your child is asking you, okay, you and dad, when are you going to have sex? Because I want a baby. What are the facts surrounding it? Yes, the facts surrounding it is that, yes, of course, sex can help you to, that is what it not even can. That is what is going to help you to reproduce. You don't want to lie. You want to face it with the real thing, the fact. It is the language that you use that now differs. We'll get there. Right? So, what are the facts surrounding the question? Answer with the facts that are surrounding the question. Excuse me. The next thing is that you want to learn to use the right language. You want to learn to use the right language. Excuse me. I'm so sorry about that. I needed to get water. Please, am I back? Can you still hear me? I'm so sorry. I needed to get water. Right, can I be heard? I am back. Can I be heard? Yes, you can hear me. Thank you so much. Right, so we'll go straight. Please, who can tell me? Thank you so much, Ms. Aisha Temi. Thank you so much. Right, who can remind me where exactly did I stop? Right, please kindly remind me where exactly did I stop? And please kindly share this with other parents. So share the link, share the link, share the link. Let it go far and wide for people to come and benefit from this. Right, I think I was talking about the use of the right language. Yes, I spoke about the use of fact and knowledge and the use of the right language. No, like I said, that your body language is something that is very, very important. So when you say something like, so where did you hear that from? It's different from you saying that, oh, good question. Come closer and let's talk about it. It's two different things. And like I said that, your word is only 7%. Right? Even if you are still saying that, okay, where did you hear that from? Right? It's different from saying, oh yeah, come closer. Where did you hear that from? You're already making your child nervous. You're already making your child feel uncomfortable if you answer like that. You need to learn to use the right language. Your body language is very, very important. This is something that is key. It speaks louder than what you say. Right? Then the next thing is that you want to be clear about confidentiality. A lot of the time, we see so many things online. We see parents when they're having, this sex conversation, good touch and bad touch and all of that. We want to post it. Yes, truly. Maybe we want to educate them, but we need to be careful of the things that we actually put online for people. We need to be really, really be careful. We need to be careful because even those that are, that are predators and all of that, they're not sleeping. They have a strategy too. They're always making their strategy better. So you want to be clear about confidentiality. If your child can trust you that what they tell you will stay with you and it's not going to leak, they are not going to hear it from, because of course, I know that of course we have friends, we want to share our challenges with them, or we even want to share our wins with them and all of that. And we pick our phone and we say, do you know what this girl is now asking me? Do you know what this boy is now asking me? And we say things. We do not even know that what we are doing is that we are not being confidential with whatever it is that our children have shared with us. And that can put our children off, especially preteens and teenagers. It can put them totally off. Like, you cannot be trusted with this conversation. I shouldn't ask you questions like this. So you want to be clear about confidentiality. If your child can trust you, if they can't trust you with whatever it is that they are telling you that it is going to leak, you will probably not hear anything again about it. You will not hear anything anymore. And what happens is that we now come to the conclusion that our children are not asking questions. It's not true. Our children are asking. Our children are asking questions. They are asking. If they might not be asking you, but they are asking other people. They are asking Google. They are chatting to talk to people. They are talking with their peers. They are talking with several people. So sex conversation is a private thing. We need to know. Yes, it's a private thing. We need to have it, but then it is a private thing. It is not something that we need to set camera and see how, because we want to see how that we are teaching this and all of that, then we post it. No. Right? So what are these questions? These are the things that we need to do. As we continue our conversation this evening, we're going to make reference to these things that you need to put in place before you actually answer this question. Right. So question 1, the first question you might want to ask, you might want to be prepared for is, what is sex? Your child can ask you what is sex, irrespective of their age. They can ask you, depending on whatever it is that they've heard. So you need to follow the guideline of making them feel comfortable, first of all. Then you want to ask your child what they know about it. That question is not from the vacuum. You want to ask them, what exactly do you know about it? Like I said from the beginning of this session, that you are raising very smart and knowledgeable children. You are raising very smart and knowledgeable children. So you don't just want to, and I said again that it's more about listening than about talking, especially when children have started asking questions. It's more about listening than about talking. Your children are very smart. This is something that we already know, right? So sex education is more about what you hear from your children than what you have to say to them. You want to find out what your child already knows, right? Irrespective of the age of your child, you want to find out, okay, it looks like you've heard something. Can you tell me exactly what you've heard? And let's have our conversation, or let's start our conversation from there. So you want to ask them, what exactly did they know? Find out what the child already knows. Then your conversation is going to begin from there. So your child is coming to you, what is sex? The next thing for you to do is not to say that, hey, sex, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to make a mess of that conversation. Because it's two things. It's either you are saying lesser than what they know, or you are saying too much than what they don't even know yet. So you want to ask them, and that's exactly where your conversation begins. So sex conversation takes us from listening and not from talking. It takes up from listening and not from just talking. So listen to what they are saying and what they are not saying. I'll say that again. Listen to what they are saying and what they are not saying, which means that you need to listen to their words. You need to listen to their tone. That tone might be the tone of a child who has been abused. That tone might be the tone of a child who is pressured. So you need to listen to their words and the things that they are not even saying, their body language, their tone. This is something that is very important. Sex conversation is not about tips and acts. A lot of the time, people just come and say, what then should we say? What then should we say? When my child say this, what should we tell them? What is this? It is not about tips and acts. It is not about tips and acts. And that's why in sex education, your child with care, because, it started with parents laying down their family value and their family media. I gave them as a bonus. That is a resource that I sell, it's a resources that I sell separately. But because I know that we can't have sex conversation, we can't have effective sex conversation with our children if we do not have family values. And that's why no Dick and Harry can just have sex conversations with your children. No, it doesn't work that way. So a lot of the time, what we just want is tips and hacks. What we see on Instagram, what we see on Facebook, we do not want to settle down to learn what exactly we need to do. And this is something that is very important. So it's not just about, hey, what do I say when they say this? What do I say when they do this? What do I say it depends on your child's level of knowledge, their level of exposure, their level of understanding. What is it that they know? That is what it entails. And that's why we're going to be, diving deep into these conversations. It's a 5-module course. It's a 5-day course. If you are not yet in that, in that class, if you've not subscribed for that class, if you've not registered, please go and register today. We start tomorrow, God willing. You don't want to miss out on this. Right. So it's not just about tips and hacks. It's about having the right structure, having a structure which we have put in place in Sex Educate Your Child with Care. We've put it in place for you to actually go through it. It's a process. It's a process. It's not just about you catching here. No, it doesn't work that way. So sex conversation will take effect from the level of your child's knowledge, like I said. So that's why I said it's more about you listening than talking. It takes effect from their level of understanding, from their level of knowledge, from their level of exposure. What do they know? Right. So you need to follow a process to have this conversation. There's a foundation for you to have before this conversation can actually take place effectively. Yes, you can have the conversation and feel like, okay, yes, I've had this conversation. However, sex conversation is not a one-time thing. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. And one thing is that if you do not take that opportunity, if you do not take the advantage of what you should teach your child between 0 to 5 years, between 7 years and 12 years, between 13 years and 18 years, those are windows of opportunity for you. You might miss it. And once you miss it, it's just like a child that you've not exposed to doing certain things, cooking and all of those things when they are very young, maybe between the ages of 7, 6, 7, 8, 9. By the time that child turns preteen, teenagers, 13, 12, 13, 14, it's going to be difficult for them to learn. That's what window of opportunity is. So you need to understand the window of opportunity. There's also a window of opportunity of when a child can learn something best. So you want to take advantage of it. And that's why it is a process to it. You don't overexpose. So if that window of opportunity has passed, you and your child will struggle to teach the things that they need to learn. It's going to be difficult. So you need to be careful of that window of opportunity whereby your child is going to learn best. And that's why when we're talking about children learning, there's actually a time whereby you are able to put in place structure for your children to learn. And if you do not teach them, it is not when they now want to write WAEC or JAM that you now start putting in place structure for them to actually study. It doesn't work that way. That's how you struggle. So window of opportunity is something that is very important. And it's something that you need to put into consideration too when we're talking about sex, educating our children. Right? So it is better for you to have continual, smaller, less pressure-filled conversation. So it is something that is going to continue. It's something that is going to be small. But it's going to be a conversation that is going to, it's going to continue. It's not something there is going to be pressure. It will continue over time. Instead of trying to set a stage. My child, like I said, my first child is 7, and we've started talking about penile health. When we take it little like that, it's easier than just bombarding them with information, just in one day and like that. No, it doesn't work that way. So we started talking about penile health. We started talking about this. We started talking about the things that I need to tell them, the things that I need to know. Because I understand the window of opportunity. I understand that my child is going to be 8 by September. And I know that by the time my child turns 10, yes, that influence is still going to be there as a parent, but it reduces. If you don't understand those things, you'll be waiting for when your child turns 16, when they turn 15, or maybe when they even start menstruation before you start talking to them about the important things. You're already late. You're missing it. Question number 2 that children can ask is, when can I have sex? Right? When can I have sex? This usually comes from maybe older children, maybe preteens or teenagers. Right? So you need to also follow the same procedure. Make them feel comfortable. We already spoke about the things that you need to do to help them feel comfortable. Don't make the mention of sex look like, shaitan is already in your mind. Shaitan is already playing with your head and all of that. No. Don't make it look like that. Like I said from, the first point to that, don't assume. Face the conversation neutrally. Like, just be neutral about it. So don't make it look like, you have started listening to this, you have started doing this. No, don't make it look like talking about sex is, is shaitan being in your home. No. As a matter of fact, there's a verse of the Quran that says that we should teach whatever it is that has been taught to us. So why should we have sex conversation differently? Because yes, Allah has actually taught us about it. The Prophet has taught us about it. So why should we avoid it? Right? So what your children need is not you hiding. Like I said, when can I have sex? It's not about you hiding. They don't need a perfect parent. This is not the time for you to lecture. No, it is not a time for you to lecture. What they need is your guidance. It's not your perfection. So they don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to paint, to have them, to guide them. Right? This is, I'm making mention of this because when we hear that word, it's just 3 letters. But the way it sounds in our head, as if it's like the longest word in the dictionary. That's how it sounds with us. Right? So it's not about painting perfection. Don't forget. Like I said that, be honest. Because our children are smart. They are listening. We'll see. This conversation is going to stem from your belief. If you want to answer that question of when can I have sex? And of course, it's something that we already know. I think we are all Muslims here. Although, yes, we have some Muslims that will tell you that you need to test this before you know who you eventually stay with. And that's why we said that sex conversation stems from your value system. It's not just something that anybody can have for your children. And that's why you can't be quiet about it. So it stems from your belief. If we have people that believe that, no, you need to try this and see if this person is effective for you, if this person is compatible for you. We have people that use that word. If they're talking to your children, you can imagine what they are going to tell them. And that's why this conversation needs to be had by you. That's why there should be a foundation of your value system. So some people are going to believe that, when a child is an adult, of course, when that child is 18 years, when that child is 19, of course, they can try it. But what does your own value say about having sex? For me personally, is that when you have, of course, when you get married, it's something that should come between husband and wife. So that's why this conversation is not just about having it, it's about whatever it is that you have put in place for your children. Before you can have this conversation, you need to have your value system put in place. And it is of utmost priority. And like I said, that's why we started with the family value guide and the family media guide. Media is something that's also very important in this conversation, right? If you won't be a part of this sex educate your child with care, one thing that you want to do for yourself and for your family and for your children is for you to put down a family value, plan. Let your children know what is important to you. A lot of us made lots of mistakes because our parents didn't talk to us about so many things. We were just listening to people, we were just, anything we just hear. We didn't know, we didn't understand. What our parents did back then is that whenever we want to go to school, they just say something like, but the children don't even know the child of whom they are. Not to talk of them remembering the child of whom they are. It is when you have a family value system from when your children are very small and you start teaching it to them from that time that they will know that, okay, yes, this is the child of whom I am. And they will be able to follow through with whatever it is that you start teaching them from a very early age, from an early age. Be sure that your family value isn't contradicting your actual life. This is something that is very important. For example, now, your child has asked you, when should you have sex? And you're saying something like, it is until when you are married. This, and your child is just looking at you like this. Because maybe in your family portrait, in your wedding picture, you had that wedding with your pregnancy, with the pregnancy of your first child. Children are smart. They can see what is going on. They know what is going on. Or they are even doing the calculation of your anniversary. And he's not telling you. Maybe you had the first child before you even had your wedding. And you want to tell your child, you need to, you're just looking at you like this. It's not that we can't make mistakes, or it's not that and that's why I said from the beginning that our children don't need us to be perfect. Even if you had that extramarital affair and all of that, this is a teachable moment for your child. Yes, I made these choices. I did this, I did that, but these were the mistakes that I made, and I wouldn't want you to make the same mistake. You don't need to be perfect. You can be vulnerable with your children. Be vulnerable with your children. Let them learn from you. They will trust you more. Because if you can be vulnerable with them, they'll look at you like, so you can actually tell me this. Don't forget, our children are watching. They are seeing. If you tell them that, okay, so thing, yes, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I was this. I was virgin before that's another question that I think I wrote here. Were you a virgin when you got married? And you want to start painting everything like white. There's no black at all. Your children are looking at you. Especially when you're speaking with that friend that always talk, maybe that has come to visit you. And that friend is just, that's your boyfriend back then, that you did this, that you did that. And your teenage son or daughter is looking at you like this. They know what is going on. So it's not about you being perfect. That's why I said it from the beginning. And if you can remember when I was saying that you need to be honest with it, this is it. That honesty is not something, it might not be easy, but you need to be honest with it because the children are smart. They know everything. They know so many things. Might not be everything, but they know so many things. Right? Another question that children can ask is that, where do babies come from? Follow the same procedure. Make your child feel comfortable. Baby comes from their mother. Right? Yes. They can go far depending on their age. That is what is going to determine how you're going to answer this question. And you know something about the sex educate your child with care. Every of this conversation has been put in an age-appropriate way. The conversations you need to have with your children, it has been put in a place, in a way whereby it is age appropriate. So you know what to tell your children per time. Please, if you have not registered for this course, subscribe for it and join others in class. We start tomorrow, God willing. We start tomorrow. We have over 20 people in class. Yes. You need to also join us and be a part of this, right? Question 4, were you a virgin when you got married? I think I've spoken about this a little. Your children will ask you. They might ask you. They should ask you. If they're not asking you, that's another problem. Because if they're not asking you, they're asking somebody else. If your children are not asking you, it means that you've not built that connection enough for them to ask you. I'll say that again. If your children are not asking you these questions, it means that you have not built connection enough for your children to ask you these questions. So you want to go back to that connection. You know, this is something that I say every time. Connection is not something you can take away from parenting. If you don't connect with them, you can't correct them effectively. They will just be looking at you like this. You need to connect. Were you a virgin? Answer sincerely. Even if you didn't. And use it as a teachable moment for your child. This is not the time for you to paint perfection. Anything can happen. And it is not nice for your children to hear about your misdoings outside of you. It is better for you to come from you so that they will understand, so that they will know. Even if somebody is telling them, they know that, yes, my mom told me about this or my dad told me about this. So you don't want to paint like you were perfect. Be vulnerable. Tell your child what exactly happened. Tell them about the choices that you have made. Tell them about why you made those choices. It could be out of ignorance, right? Tell them why you made that choices. Tell them the mistake that you have made and what you would have done better. Tell them why you are telling them, all of this, so that they will also be able to make better decisions. They will also be able to make wise choices. This is something that is important. Face this conversation with honesty. Right? Question 5, and this is almost going to be the last one. Another question that people ask is, that children ask, still older children, are what are condoms? Right? What are contraceptives? What are they used for? Right? This is not the time for us. Don't forget, the procedure from the beginning still stays. Right? You want to ask them, how have you heard about it? What exactly did you hear about it? If they are not asking what are condoms or what are they used for, they can say that, do you get pregnant each time you have sex? Yes, they can be so curious and ask you that question. Do you get pregnant? Talk to them about it. If a child should ask you this question that, okay, if you have sex, is it that you're going to get pregnant? Your instinct wants to lie because you want to avoid them from trying it. So you want to say something like, as soon as you get pregnant, you have sex like this, you're going to get pregnant because you want to, that's already you using fear to teach them. That's already you using fear to tell them that, okay, yes, you have to just stay away from it by all means. But no, it's not true. It's not true. We have lots of us that have been married for 20, 30 years. Do we have 20 children? Do we have 30 children? So we want to tell them the truth. Don't forget, be honest, right? So you want to talk to them about contraceptives and what they are used for, right? So you can use this question to also answer the fact that, okay, so people don't get pregnant each time they have sex. This is this that happened, this is this that happened, this is this that happened. This conversation, we might be looking at it like, is that how easy it is? But the truth is, if you start early and you're consistent with it, they become very normal. You and your daughter will just be talking about the vagina like nothing happened. When you're talking about the vaginal health, when you're talking about how, hygiene and all of those things, it's part of sex conversation. We have lots of children, a lot of people that just go into marriage without even knowing anything. I've heard the news of a sister who, got married and was running helter-skelter, when, the night of the nikah, because he was like, what do you want? What is going on? We might feel that, no, it's not possible. It is possible. This is something that happens. So we want to tell our children, right? So we need to know that our values are important in this conversation. And that's why there's no sex conversation without talking about our family values. What are our family values? What do our family hold into our esteem? Those that have registered for sex education, they already did that assignment of, family value plan and the family media plan. They already did it. And that's why I said that we're going to have it first because it is core. It is important. It's a foundation before we actually start talking about, sex, before we now kickstart tomorrow. Right? This is not to scare you. If you still want to be a part of this session, please join. We're going to go through the family media plan. And that's why I took my time to actually go through each person's zone to know that, okay, yes, we're on track before we actually start having this conversation. Because values are so key. right? When they are in place, your conversation will flow as it should. So you will not be having conversation like, or you will not be saying something like, hey, if you don't go and have any sex there, you know, because you already have a procedure. Your children understand their assignment. I like to use, the use of a, what's it called? Of a puzzle, for example. If everybody sees the end in mind of what the puzzle is going to end up with, everyone will know what to do. So you will not start shouting, no, that's not where you put that one. No, this not where. Everyone has the picture in mind. So sex conversation will flow like it should. All you need is to know where your children are and try as much as you can to meet them where they are. It's all about intentionality and programming. When you put the right program in place, sex conversation becomes a lot easier. It's not all about tips and hacks, like I have said. It's not just all about good touches and bad touches. It's not just all about private part or no private parts. I already said it before. Tips and hacks will confuse you the more. That's the truth. If we just rely on, okay, what did this person post? What did this person post? Because you do not know the nitty-gritty of what people are posting, you might not understand it. As a matter of fact, I heard recently about a parent coach saying that masturbation is okay, at least once or twice in a week. And that's exactly, if we want to go and check, we can go and check. Check Google, check ChatGPT. They'll tell you that masturbation is okay, maybe once or twice. And that's why this conversation should stem from your family value. That is where it should come from. What is it that you hold into high esteem? So you can imagine if somebody posts something, if a parent coach posts something about, okay, yes, masturbation is okay. It's not about tips and hacks. You need to follow a process. You need to follow a structure. And that's why we're already planning our accountability system for 2026, God willing. May Allah spare our lives. Because parenting is something that is learned, and it is something that should be continued. If your children aren't asking you questions, there is already a problem. Yes, there is already a problem. So what you want to do now is that you want to equip yourself with the right knowledge for you to start having that conversation with them. Be a safe zone for them. Be a safe haven for them. It means that you haven't built enough connection with your child, and that's why they are not asking you those questions. You have not built that connection enough for them to see that, okay, yes, let me ask my mom about this. That connection is not there yet for them to think that, okay, yes, let me come to this person. And it's not just about making your children your friend, don't forget. Connecting with your children is not about making them your friend. No, friendship is a tool in parenting. It is not a relationship. Friendship is a tool in parenting. It's not a relationship. I've seen so many parents say things like, just to make them your friend so that they will tell you everything. No, it's not going to work that way. Your children are not going to tell you everything. And that should not even be your goal in parenting. You want to be close to your friends so that they'll tell you everything. That's not your goal. Your goal is to stay in the place of authority, build connection, and give your children the things that they need. It's about maintaining your authority figure and still staying connected with your child. Your children must bring their curiosity to you. If they are not bringing their curiosity to you, there's a problem. This is something that is very important. Right? Lastly. The first thing you want to do is to build connection with your children. Like I have said, a child who you do not have connection with will never bring sex conversations to you. Yes, they will not. Not that they will not bring it to you because that connection is not there. And that doesn't rule out the fact that your children are not asking someone else. Your children are not asking you does not mean that your children are not asking someone else. They are either asking on the internet or they are asking other people who they have built connection with. Don't forget, there's a connection between themselves and their friends. There's a connection between themselves and their peers. There's a connection between them and those, those street aunties and uncles, those people that they see, give them this, give them that every day. There's a connection. So if you don't have a connection with them and they're unable to bring this to you, they are taking it to other people that they have a connection with, and they are taking those questions to them. So your first point of call is to go and start building connection with your child. In conclusion, we have used more than minutes, just 5. So in 2 minutes, we should round off, inshallah. It's not a matter of being righteous or not. I see a lot of people say things like, okay, yes, I don't need to tell you that, yes, mashallah, alhamdulillah, when it comes to religion, I take it into IST, but we need to know that it's not just about us raising righteous children. If we raise children who are righteous and they do not have the skills to navigate life, to navigate peer pressure, to navigate other things that they see, the whole of the pressure that is in this our world now, they will fail at it. So it's not just about being righteous. We see lots of people say things like, once they say they are morning askar, once they say they are evening askar, it's not just about that. This is something that we really need to know. It's about having the right skills. It's about having the right skills on how to navigate different things, how to navigate different pressures that will come to them, because it will come to them and we can't always be there with them. So it is better for us to equip them with the right skills to actually navigate those things when they come. To actually be able to say no and mean no. To actually be able to for them to be able to be in that place where they should be. We have heard lots of touching stories, some are not even touching. Right? I was still speaking with my husband today, like a lot of people that come to this Agidigo, they are mostly Muslims. They will come with their, their hijab like that. That's the problem that we have. It is sad. It is so sad. And this is because of a lack of information. This is because of a lack of knowledge. So many stories like that. Very young children, tell them, they'll start asking, who is the owner of this pregnancy? Wasiuni, I feel something, we've heard many things, right? This is something that is avoidable. And that's why we keep saying that we should try as much as possible to share this information to people. We can no longer stay ignorant, right? I can't help but being ashamed, seriously, for us, right? For those of us that see ourselves as, okay, yes, being religious is enough and we don't need skills, we don't need to learn and all of that. This is something that is important. Remember that we all are sexual beings. Yes, we are sexual beings, and our silence, we do our children lots and lots of disservice. Our silence, we do our children lots and lots of disservice. Let's start learning the things to do now, because parenting isn't an emergency thing. It is not when we have problem. I know of someone who has been following me for the past, should I say 3 to 4 years now, and the person is just there. Not until that person's, child asks, what is sex? That's when the person, okay, yes, I need to now enroll. Let's not wait. And that's why I said that an intentional parent is a proactive parent. Don't be reactive. Don't wait for challenges to come. Don't wait for questions to be asked before you now start learning the things that you need to tell your children. No, you're doing your children a disservice, because before you know it, time is gone. Time is gone and we are already late. This is something that we really need to put into, consideration. Let's start learning the things to do now, because parenting is not an emergency thing, like I said. Our children are growing every day and we must always be a step ahead of them. If we're not a step ahead of them, they'll just leave us. And you know what they will refer us to? Even if you are not born before technology, as far as you don't understand what technology is, they will tell you that our children are born before, our parents are born before technology now. They are BBT. Right? So that's why we really need, to up our game in all of these conversations with our children. Right? We have gone so far. We have spent more than an hour here. Alhamdulillah. I pray that Allah puts His blessings in whatever it is that we have discussed today. Thank you so much for joining me on today's live session. Don't forget to register for Sex Educate Your Child. We move tomorrow, God willing. It starts tomorrow, inshallah. Don't also forget to follow us on our social media handles on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, at Lola Loves Parenting. And don't also forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. We hope that we're going to start having this live session on our YouTube channel so that it's going to be there for people to listen to, and we're going to reach, a wider audience, inshallah, right? Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Marufa Otolorin of Lola Loves Parenting, right? So thank you so much for joining me. For those who have reshared this program for other people to get to know about it, I really do appreciate it. I do not take it for granted. I say Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah reward you. May Allah reward your intention. And may Allah ease your affairs. So thank you so much for joining me. Until I see you again next week, God willing, what we're going to be talking about a different topic entirely, inshallah, because it's going to be a new month, of course. May Allah spare our lives, and may Allah protect our adorables from predators and from every other harm that might happen to them. So thank you so much for joining me, and have an amazing weekend. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.